The Detroit Lions have just surprised everyone with an unexpected decision. A major urgent update has just arrived directly from Detroit, involving roster changes that are leaving fans divided and, at the same time, full of expectation. This just happened and is already dominating all conversations among the team's fans. The Lions made changes in key positions, activated important players, and lost a name that was attracting attention. All this on the eve of the decisive matchup against the Washington Commanders. And the question now is, will these changes strengthen the team or further complicate Dan Campbell's plans for Sunday? Before I tell you the behind-the-scenes details of what's really happening, go ahead and like this video because your support is what keeps the channel bringing you the hottest Detroit Lions updates. And if you're not yet subscribed, click subscribe because what's coming could completely change the team's landscape in the coming weeks. That's right, the Lions have just made a series of moves that even caught NFL insiders by surprise. The first piece of good news was the activation of safety Daniel Thomas, a player many thought wouldn't return until the end of the month. Thomas had been training well, but wasn't yet 100% after a complicated injury. Even so, the team decided to accelerate his return, and that says a lot about the urgency the coaching staff is feeling. With Kirby Joseph out, Detroit's secondary was vulnerable, and this return could be the balancing point the defense so desperately needed. Thomas arrives to share responsibilities with Thomas Harper, who had been forced to play practically every snap alone. With this duo, the Lions' pass defense can finally breathe a little easier, but there's still a lot of attention on Daniel Thomas's physical condition and whether he'll truly be ready to face the Commanders' strong passing attack. But along with the good news came a decision no one expected. The Lions released safety Jamie Robinson. Yes, the same player Brad Holmes had been closely following since the draft. This departure caught everyone by surprise because Robinson was seen as a promising prospect, someone who could thrive within Campbell's system. The most likely explanation is purely strategic. The Lions needed to free up roster space for Thomas's return. Internal sources believe Robinson could be reinstated to the practice squad as early as Monday, indicating the team hasn't given up on him yet. Even so, it's the kind of move that shows how tight the roster is right now and how every decision needs to be meticulously calculated. Another change that caught attention was the promotion of offensive lineman Michael Neese from the practice squad. And this is where things start to get really interesting. Throughout the week, Coach Dan Campbell hinted at a possible change in the middle of the offensive line, and backstage rumors indicated that Tristan Colon would be tested as center. But with Neese being called up, the scenario became unclear. Neese practiced not only as a guard, but also as a center in the last two sessions, leaving fans wondering who, after all, will take on the role of starting center this Sunday. Is Campbell preparing a tactical surprise to confuse the Commanders' defense? This type of last-minute move can indicate profound adjustments to the game plan. And let's face it, the Lions' success depends directly on keeping Jared Goff protected and comfortable in the pocket. And it doesn't stop there. Amidst all this movement, the Miami Dolphins signed edge rusher Andre Carter directly from the Lions practice squad. This news went unnoticed in the first few days, but now it's starting to resonate, mainly because Carter had been attracting attention behind the scenes. He arrived in Detroit in August, but never made it to the main roster. Still, the Dolphins saw enough potential to take him straight to the 53-man roster. It's a loss that, while not changing the core of the Lions' defense, shows that other teams are eyeing the talent Detroit has been developing. This reinforces the idea that Brad Holmes' work in recruitment is paying off, even when the names haven't yet gained public prominence. Now, the key point is that all these moves aren't random. Sources close to the franchise indicate that Campbell and Holmes are making a real chess adjustment to the roster to balance the pieces before the decisive stretch of the season. With injuries affecting important areas and the team coming off inconsistent performances, every technical detail matters. and the game against the Commanders could be the turning point that defines the direction of the Detroit Lions. If the changes work, the team can get back on track and regain confidence. But if the plan fails, the pressure will increase significantly. And I want to know from you, the fan, what did you think of these moves? Does the return of Daniel Thomas and the promotion of Nice make you confident? Or do you think the Lions are taking too many risks? Leave your opinion here in the comments, and I want to know what you think about this new phase of the team. An unexpected decision by another team could directly benefit Dan Campbell's roster and rekindle an old connection with a name that marked an era in Detroit. Veteran safety Quandre Diggs was released by the Tennessee Titans, and, according to sources close to the league, there is increasing pressure for the Detroit Lions to consider his immediate reinstatement. And before I tell you what's really happening behind the scenes, and if Diggs' return can actually happen, leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because this kind of hot Lions update arrives here first. Quandre Diggs' release caught everyone by surprise. The 32-year-old had participated in 9 games this season, starting in 4 of them and recording 30 tackles and 1 pass deflection. Even being an important piece in the Titans' defense, Diggs reportedly requested his release, apparently unhappy with the team's direction. And that's where Detroit comes into play. The Lions have been facing a veritable marathon of injuries in their defensive secondary, and the possibility of bringing in a veteran with Diggs' experience has reignited the debate about reinforcing the unit before the problems become more serious. NFL sources have already indicated that the move may be under internal discussion within the franchise. It's worth remembering, even before Diggs asked to leave Tennessee, the Titans had signed safety Jerrick Reed, which reinforced suspicions that the veteran's departure was only a matter of time. Now, with him a free agent, journalist John Macaron of Sports Illustrated raised the point that excited Detroit fans, the chance of an exciting return to the team that drafted him in 2015. Macaron highlighted that the Lions were already exploring possible reinforcements at the position before the NFL trade deadline, especially due to Kirby Joseph's injury, who remains sidelined with knee problems. Coach Dan Campbell and his coaching staff have praised the performance of the reserves who have stepped up in recent weeks, such as Thomas Harper, who has been competently filling in for Joseph. Defensive coordinator Calvin Shepard even jokingly called the group the Legion of Who, a reference to the legendary Legion of Boom of the Seattle Seahawks, praising the effort of the players who took on heavy responsibilities against elite NFL names like Puka Nacua and Mike Evans. Even so, there is recognition that a veteran with leadership and game-reading skills could further elevate the defense, and Diggs fits that profile perfectly. Despite the good performances, Detroit is still feeling the impact of absences. The team has already lost more games this season than last year, when it finished with an impressive record of 15 wins and only 2 losses, dominating the NFC. Coach Dan Campbell acknowledged that this is a time of adjustment, but assured that the group remains mentally strong. Since 2022, the Lions haven't lost 2 consecutive games, a record that shows the team's maturity. Now, after the loss to the Minnesota Vikings, the team prepares to face the Washington Commanders, who are expected to be without their starting quarterback, Jaden Daniels, who was out with an elbow injury. And it is precisely in this context that Quandre Diggs' name gains strength. A player who knows the system, has leadership within the locker room, and still maintains a high level of production, could be the ideal reinforcement to keep the Lions firmly in the running for the NFC lead. It remains to be seen if the management will act quickly to bring him back, or if another team will get ahead and take this opportunity away from Detroit. Now, I want to know your opinion. Would you like to see Quandre Diggs back wearing the Lions jersey? Do you think he can still help this defense go further in the playoffs? Leave your opinion here in the comments. And of course, don't forget to like the video to support the channel and stay up to date on all the hot news about the Detroit Lions.